Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. I want to start out this intro with a huge thank you to all of you listening. This episode is going up on the last day of February 2019, and as it stands as I'm recording this month has been our second biggest month ever for downloads, beaten only by last month actually. Thanks so much for all of the downloads and the listens from everybody, everyone who tuned in, and those who spread the word, and to those new listeners, welcome along. Hopefully you're enjoying the podcast so far. The best is yet to come. I usually just mention it in my outro bits, but as we're kind of on the topic, it'd be super awesome for anyone who's enjoying the pod so far to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or whatever platform you get your podcasts from. We'd really just love to hear your feedback on how you think the podcast is and whatnot. Alright, secondly, I want to announce that I'll be joined next week for another bonus episode interview, this time by Nikolai of the Penance RPG podcast. I myself have been a cast member on 2 of the ongoing series over on Penance, so this really should be quite an interesting conversation. Hopefully you'll all tune back in for that. Okay, let's quickly recap what happened in our last episode. Following Madam Sway's encounter with a distraught police officer outside the town church, she quickly left and headed back into town, running into Alistair, to whom she related the policeman's grisly account of the murder of the church's verger. Not even having seen the body herself, she was in quite a distressed state, so Alistair implored her to return to their lodgings and wait for Barnard, while he himself went to investigate the scene of the murder. Sneaking into the church through a side entrance, Alistair quickly confirmed the police officer's story, finding the mangled body of the verger torn open in the priest's rectory. Unable to find any concrete clues as to who or what was the perpetrator, and hearing voices coming down the hall, he quickly made his exit and met back up with Madam Sway and Barnard outside the church, and together they all walked round to the outside window of the rectory to see if they could spot any signs of forced entry, but found none. That's pretty much where we left off, so without any further ado, let's begin today's episode. Enjoy.
Perhaps we should speak to the local constabulary again to find out if there's anything further that they know.
Do you really think they'll speak to us?
I doubt they'll they'll just see us as meddlers and nosy people.
Exactly, 3 outsiders asking questions, they'll start putting the blame on us.
Yes, they'll think we're responsible. We haven't even been here that long.
And noting that Barnard pulls his scarf up a little bit, thinking about the way he looks, and kind of goes, yes. Point taken. Well, I'm not sure what we should do.
I suppose I could talk to that police officer again, the one that found the body, and, well, along with the vicar, and inquire how he's doing. But I don't know if I could really ask him any direct questions.
Perhaps as a man with experiences of my nature, I could try speaking to him as a professional of sorts. I mean, time in the army and everything, I've seen things. Perhaps I can appeal to him on that front.
That's the best idea I'm thinking so far.
Yes, you could give him some great courage and help soothe him a little, yes.
Restore colour to his cheeks, perhaps.
Yes.
Remind him of his duty at the very least. And with that, then Barnard's going to kind of motion off towards the front of the church and say, well, the last time as we passed down, sorry, did we see him as we passed back through again? We did, didn't we?
So yes, the constable was visible when you came into the graveyard.
Okay then. Well, I will return to the constable at the front of the building. I'm not sure if you would care to hang around nearby, perhaps, or if you've other things you would like to be getting on with, I can rejoin you at the lodgings and brief you on what I find out, if anything.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know. With everything going on, is it wise to go out alone?
I can stay with you, my dear.
Well, we would leave the Madam Sway alone in that case.
This is a logic problem. You've solved my not staying alone puzzle.
Anti-isolation.
Take 10 experience points.
Well, I'm hesitant to descend upon this constable as a trio. It may be a little too much for the man to, I don't know, honestly speak to me if he has to. The presence of a woman in particular, cowardice doesn't.
Perhaps I'll take some solace in the church and wait for you both in there until.
Are they even letting people back into the church?
So it doesn't know that they're reopening the church later.
No, indeed.
No.
I have a suggestion. If Barnard here speaks to the constable, perhaps you and I should retire to the theatre. There's a small cafe inside. We could wait there for him.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
Will you meet us there, Barnard, when you're finished?
Yes, certainly.
Very well. Come on, Madam Sway, let's head back into the town. Good luck, Barnard.
Likewise.
Okay, let's stay with Barnard then, I think. As you're walking back up to the main entranceway of the church, you can see the constable still there. Sort of the remaining kind of parishioners are sort of starting to finally disperse, and the constable is sort of. He looks like he's about to head back into the church.
Okay. Excuse me, sir. Sir, could you explain what's going on here?
Oh no, sorry, you can't be round here, sir. Nobody's allowed in the church right now. Police business.
What's going on exactly?
I'm not really supposed to tell you. It's the it's been a bit of an incident with the verger, but can't say much else.
Okay. I'm trying to think of the best approach here. Well, my good man, as a man of faith, I find myself in need of time in the church. Do you know what time it will be reopening? What manner of thing could close a church for the day? There's not much, but surely in a town this small, there's not much that could go on.
You can see the man's wheels kind of turning. He knows he shouldn't really be sharing the story, but he's not the smartest of gentlemen. Is what you kind of gather from the sort of the expression on his face. Like he's obviously trying to think of what he's supposed to say to you. No, you're right. Not much close to church. All I can say is there's been an incident. The verger's been hurt, and but for the safety of everyone involved, you can't go in.
Who was this verger? Was he a man of good standing in the town? Was somebody who wanted to cause this man harm?
I don't know who. I mean, who wanted? I mean, as to say, if anyone was responsible for the incident.
That's an awfully strange thing to note. Of course, somebody was responsible.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it would be, wouldn't they? I mean, you know, that's to say that no, the verger. Most people liked him. Liked him. You know, I can neither confirm nor deny the nature of the incident.
Are you completely okay, my friend? You seem a little out of sorts, a little too shaken to be out on duty today.
Well, truth be told, yeah, this is not having a good day. This is a little bit of a different thing than we normally see around here. I'll give you that. It's throwing me a little bit off kilter.
Okay. I'm kind of at a loss as to where to go with him.
Like he's not. He's kind of. He knows he's not trying to deceive you. Really, he's just not really meant to be giving out details. If you follow me. But he's still not great at hiding that something has gone on, and you'd be able to figure out that the Verge has been seriously injured, if not killed. But like,
well, he knows his job, but he doesn't want to keep it to himself. He wants to talk to someone.
He's a bit shaken. Yeah.
Throwing something up kilter, more like.
This all seems like a bit too much for you. How old is this guy? Just out of curiosity.
30s.
30s. This is quite unbecoming of a police officer to be quite so shaken. I don't know. What manner of thing has happened to this Verger? Surely, if he's just injured, this can't be something that'd be so much. I mean, as a man, I keep saying this, as a man who's experienced quite some things. I don't know if you're old enough to have been in the war. Quite, but truly, what have you seen? I've seen quite a great deal myself. I could describe some things to you that would probably turn you even paler shade of white. But
okay, so this is tricky because I could have you make a check here. There's persuasion or intimidation.
Do it
now. Are you kind of? This is the thing. It's. Like the sort of I could tell you things that would turn your stomach could almost be taken as a slight intimidation.
I feel that it's certainly more towards that Barnard's not a man that would necessarily be capable of anything but intimidation given the way he looks.
Okay, so are you actively trying to sort of intimidate him into...
Yeah, let's say so.
Okay. Make an intimidation check for me then.
Okay, no, that's a D100, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're pretty high in intimidation. You got a 70 in it.
I'm confident. 41.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So you see the policeman kind of taking in your scar, and this motion of this notion of like, oh, I've seen things, and I could tell you stories that would turn your stomach, sort of thing. He says, oh, okay, all right. Then you're obviously a man of the world. To tell you the truth, somebody's killed the Verger. He's
killed, murder.
Well, I mean, I ain't never seen nobody do anything like that before. He's brutalised him, is what he's done. I don't know if they've taken a knife to it. I'm not a medical man myself, but he's in a right state. Nothing. I've never seen nothing about it. It's really just throwing me off, throwing me for a loop.
Okay. Well, I can appreciate that a man who's perhaps not have the experiences I have would look upon such things and have their stomach turn made of sterner stuff as I am. Might I have a look?
Well, if you think you can, help, I can't see why not. We're waiting for the coroner. He's coming from out of town. It could be another hour yet.
Well, I'll be staying in town for at least another couple of days, visiting a friend in the sanitarium. Might as well occupy my time, and I have travelling companions who are equally interested in this matter. So I will, investigate the area, and if I happen to find something, I will certainly assist in your investigation.
Well, anything. We don't want this happening again.
No, I can imagine not.
He sort of waves you inside. He seems a little bit trepidatious to sort of head back in there himself, even.
Okay.
As you enter the main... I take it you're going in.
Yeah, I'm going to go in, going to have a look around. Obviously, we've had a look around the room already, and I don't necessarily have any better investigation skills.
No, but you're
I do want to pay special attention to any pools of blood or any indication of a trail, blood splatters, that kind of thing. So I suppose I'll be doing a spot hidden check, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I am going to have you, as you go into the room, you kind of know what to expect, but I am going to need a sanity check from you now that you're getting a look at it.
Okie doke.
So it's the D100, and Barnard has slightly less sanity than Alistair did. So
7.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine then. Yeah.
Great success.
7. Yeah, that is you are fully. I mean, it is a grisly scene. it's really, as expected from what Alistair told you. But you've definitely seen stuff like this before in the war, and you're hardened to it a little bit. So it's not nice. I still want you to drop a sanity point anyway, so down to 49, just from the sight, because it is it's still not not great.
It's gonna provoke thoughts of the past and what have you.
Yeah, but yes, you're not enough to fully shake you.
Okey-doke.
So you're greeted by the sight in there, as of the sort of the remains of the verger, still sort of staring blankly at the ceiling, but his whole middle section just completely almost torn out, and it's not a nice sight. So you're looking specifically for pools of blood and such.
Any kind of blood splatter, anything along the walls that might indicate the way that whatever it was, however it got out of the room again, whether it went back to the window, so there'd be some blood leading up to that, or just some indication of where the assailant went.
Right. Okay. Make an intelligence check for me then.
Okay.
That is a 62, I'm afraid. We were looking for under 50. So sorry about that. Again, there's a lot of blood on the, sort of spreading out along the floor and everything. It's sort of as I described for Alistair. You don't see any kind of specific sort of scrape marks or footprints or a trail of any sort. It's nothing. There's no kind of obvious things like that at all.
Okay. Unable to really spot anything more specific about the scene, then Barnard's going to kind of wander back out. Is the vicar or priest, whoever's actually running the church, are they around anywhere?
Yeah, he's the vicar. Seems to be he's kind of in the main the main hall of the church at the moment. He's sort of avoiding going into where you are, but he's sort of striding around, sort of straightening things, almost as if he doesn't know quite what to do while he's waiting for the coroner.
Okay. I'm going to wander over to him, kind of give him a nod and say, is it a vicar or a priest? Sorry.
It's a vicar.
It's a vicar. I'd say good afternoon, vicar.
Good afternoon. You're not supposed to be in here. The police have closed this off.
Yes, I appreciate that. I had a conversation with the constable outside. I'm assisting in his investigations. The name is Barnard Hardcastle.
Well, we appreciate any help you can give the church, Mr. Hardcastle.
Yes, I was just curious as to what you might know about what's happened to your associate there. Were you present when whatever event occurred? Did you hear or see anything?
No, I can assure you I had nothing to do with this. I woke as I usually do and made my way around town to purchase my breakfast. When I came into the church, the verger, he normally opens up, and upon entering our rectory, I found him in his current state. Quite the sight, I'm sure you will agree with me.
Absolutely. So you heard or saw nothing of the actual event itself?
No, I found. I do not live in the church. I live in the vicarage, and as I said, when I came in, I found it much as it is now.
Did it appear as though the event had taken place just before you arrived, or was this something that occurred in the night?
No, I'm not well versed in such matters. My thoughts lie in a higher plane.
Oh, I can appreciate such things. I try to strive to look to the higher powers, much as they seem to look poorly on me. Well, I will thank you for your time and assistance, and I will leave you to your work.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle.
He tips his hat and heads back out of the door again.
And
I'm going to make my way down to the cafe that was alluded to earlier to rejoin the rest of the gang.
Okay. So yeah, you pass the policeman on the way out, and rejoin the other two, who have found their way back to the theatre. Was it the?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a small sort of cafe area inside the theatre, a little bit past the box office. Not particularly busy, but there's a pair of old ladies in the corner drinking tea and sort of talking quietly to each other. And yes, so you two find yourselves a table.
Indeed. Let's sit here, shall we?
Yes. Rest our legs.
Indeed. I must admit, I'm a little bit taken back by what I saw in that office.
I'm just glad that I didn't see it.
Indeed, you wouldn't have liked it one bit.
No. Thought of it. When he told me that it was cleaved in two, I had images of two halves. Then when you said his abdomen was like exploded or something. The thought of what that thing was going through the last moment, like, off.
It doesn't bear thinking about. I dare say that Barnard probably seen just as worse in the war.
Yes. I hope he's given that young man a bit of strength rather than grief.
Cut to Barnard threatening the police officer. Sorry.
Oh dear. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit stumped for what to say at this point.
So, we'll just say then that you two sort of make awkward small talk for a couple of minutes before you spy Barnard rejoining you.
Okay. So Barnard enters the cafe, joins them at the table, sits down, and rather than going through the dialogue of explaining what I've just done, I'm just going to say he explains that he's not really managed to gather any more information, and that, well, it seems that there are foreboding things happening in town, and that we should keep our heads down and our eyes open.
I see.
It feels like we're in a little bit of a picture movie. Not like some... Sorry.
Whiskey going down smooth.
Whiskey in the cafe, you sure? I know it's Parisian.
Just going to Irish up this coffee a little bit.
I think she's probably switched to tea.
She's on the absinthe.
Probably.
She's on the absinthe. That drink that makes you want to kill yourself instantly.
Just steady my nerves for several days.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 4 o'clock she's dead of alcohol poisoning.
Proper wormwood stuff, not the fake shit.
Exactly.
Oh,
With laudanum and everything.
Yeah, we played Call of Cthulhu and all the characters died. Oh, what killed them?
Absinthe.
Inner demons.
Inner demons. Demons in a bottle. Oh dear. So keeping our heads down is the best thing we can do,
Well, I've no better suggestion. I'm not here truly to find trouble. I'd rather be visiting my friend Jenkins and enjoying the time, if I'm completely honest with you.
Indeed. Yes, I remember you mentioning him. Have you seen him yet?
Yes, we spent the morning together. We enjoyed a cigar and spent a little time reminiscing about the past. What were the two of you in town for, exactly? I mean, do you not both have business? Should we not be attending to our own affairs rather than sticking our noses perhaps where they're not welcome?
Well, I came here to relax, find work. But I don't know, I think I'm going to maybe rethink that idea.
Well, I'm here to see a play, but it doesn't begin until tomorrow. See an old friend.
Oh, are you also going?
Well, yes, The Tempest. It begins tomorrow night. Oh, yes.
Oh.
My friend is playing Prospero.
Oh, fantastic.
Indeed.
I myself am an actress. That's partly why I...
You don't say?
Yes.
Well, that's marvellous. You're here looking for potentially working for the theatre, then?
I don't know. Especially with what's happened recently. I don't know if it's maybe safe.
No, it does seem like a poor time to come to this town, but we're here now, so we might as well enjoy it while we can. Would you like to accompany me to the performance tomorrow night?
Yeah. Yes, that would be lovely.
Splendid. Barnard, are you one for the arts? I'm sure there are still tickets available.
Yes, we could have a threesome.
I like that you said it and started laughing before everybody else.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's because literally as it came out of my mouth, I went, no.
Yeah, that took a turn.
Oh dear.
But no,
Cue the 70s music, what the hell?
Would they have had porn jazz music in the 1930s?
Yeah, the birth of jazz.
It was, yeah, the birth of jazz, yeah.
Some funky jazz clarinet.
Do you want to rephrase that, Amy? Or
No, just cut it out.
Okay.
Just cut it out.
Maybe say like, oh yes, we could go together or something like that.
Yes, we could make an evening of it. That's what I was meaning.
Okay.
Yes, we can make an evening of it.
Yes, what do you say, Bernard?
It's not normally my kind of thing, but I was planning on visiting Jenkins tomorrow morning, and I could ask him if he see perhaps getting out of the sanitarium would do him some good before he meets his end. I should expect that seeing it one more great piece, one more great work of art would buoy his spirits some.
That sounds like a splendid idea. Well, it's settled then. She'll see about getting 2 tickets for you and your friend.
I would appreciate that greatly. As I say, I will speak to him tomorrow, and yes, we'll make arrangements for his transport. I should expect that we'll need to do some work. The man's wheelchair bound and struggles to get about. But we speak to the theatre owner, make him know, let him know that he'll need disabled access. I have worked in service too long. These things stick in my mind. I'm like, what's the logistical problems that come with having a wheelchair?
It's the 1930s thing as well. Is there a disabled access? Is that the...
It'd probably be the kind of thing where we'd just get 3 big burly guys and pick him up and put him in a seat somewhere.
Yeah. Or they let him in through the loading ramp at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can get him into the theatre without too much trouble.
Wonderful.
Yes. Quite.
Okay, so we're saying for now then that the 3 of you are kind of putting thoughts of the grisly incident, putting them aside. Is that?
Yeah.
Would you say that's accurate? Sort of.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Trying to ignore it for now.
Taking a step back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in terms of plot. I just mean in terms of
what we're doing
not
now.
stepping away. No, you know what I mean. You're sort of assessing where your position is in the.
Looking toward the following day's events.
Okay. So fairly easy to procure another pair of tickets for the theatre. Not a problem at all.
Indeed.
Is there anything else you would like to do in this day? Any of you, really?
I don't. It's not such something that I think would further the plot as such, but something.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Something character based for.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so if we've left the cafe and headed off to do whatever, I know there's like a waterfront in the village.
Yeah, it's sort of a little bit further round. You remember this from your previous visit.
Yes. I walked along one side of the
river. Yeah.
So the other
a
side.
little further down the river, there is a little bit more of a kind of curated sort of quayside sort of thing.
Right.
It's a bit more kind of. It's not so much fields by the river so much as it's a little bit more pedestrianised. Let's say There's paths and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Alistair is taking a walk after leaving the other 2 by the cafe.
Right.
So Alistair walking along the riverfront, thinking back to the last time he saw anybody brutalised in such a way, not quite as bad as that, but the last time he saw a dead body recently dead, not a skeleton at an archaeological dig site.
Yeah.
And he's trying not to think about it. Unfortunately, it's sort of come into his mind. Is his former girlfriend that I believe
you mentioned that before. Yes, she'd been
when talking to Barnard.
Yes, she'd been murdered during the war in
1917. Yes, because Alistair did kind of embellish the facts a bit with Barnard.
Cool. All right, this is
out of embarrassments. Alistair never actually served in the war.
It's a dramatic gasp from
he wasn't allowed to serve due to flat feet. They wouldn't greenlight him to go in, and so he basically had a get out of jail free card in that regard. And he met Doris at quite a young age, just before the outbreak of the war, and he met her outside the Royal Albert Hall one evening. Both of them not able really to afford to go in and listen to concerts and things like that, but they met by sitting on the steps,
right, listening
in to whatever was playing at the time.
Yeah.
And they got on along really well. Come 1917, things got worse, and because Alistair spoke German, he learnt the language. When the London riots were going on, a mob basically overheard him talking to a German refugee, and Doris was there with him at the time. The mob assumed that they were all German, and they launched quite a vicious attack where Alistair was cut up with basically trying to defend Doris. For some reason they went straight for her, and he was kind of an afterthought target,
right,
which seems a bit odd to him. But Alistair has a few scars from broken glass bottles and knives where he was trying to defend Doris, but she was essentially stabbed over and over and over again in front of him. And seeing the body in the office of the church just kind of
can't help but bring back thoughts
of what happened to her. So there's thoughts of their time outside the hall listening to concert music mixed in with the terror of that evening, which is why he's been not quite recluse since then, but he doesn't like to try and get attached to people because he's worried this kind of stuff happens again.
So all of this is on his mind as he's walking, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of flashing back to the last time he saw a body in that kind of state, and it was actually Doris.
Yeah.
Everything else he's seen has been skeletons at a dig that have been long dead. And he's trying to get it off his mind by going for this walk, but it still creeps in as he travels.
Yeah. Okay. It's just kind of a look into Alistair's thought process then, really.
Yeah, kind of. So that's his mindscape after seeing the verger in such a state.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you have a sort of peaceful, relatively peaceful walk, thoughts aside. Again, a couple of people around, it's not particularly busy and that, but it's actually, like I said earlier with Barnard, weather-wise, it's actually quite a nice day, really, which is a sort of bit of a stark contrast to the
what's happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
The either of you two, is there anything you would like to be doing with the rest of this day? Anything specific, or it could even be, as with Alistair, just sort of what's going through your mind. If you want to share, you don't have to share.
Yeah, I think Barnard for the rest of the day is just going to relax and probably contemplate similar things. He's going to go and get something to eat and then go and spend the evening in the pub having another gin or two. Silently stood there listening in on other people's conversations and trying to ignore thoughts of the war and, gore and what have you.
Okay. So, listening in on conversations then, that's an interesting detail there. There's definitely you pick up an undercurrent of sort of murmurs about something happened at the church. Obviously, you're better informed than most. you recognise a couple of the people in the pub from the previous night. I don't know if you remember, but when you were there previously, I said about there's a group of fishermen who were sort of seemed to be talking to each other. They're back in there again. Their conversation seems a little bit more animated, but again, they're very much sort of leaning in, keeping themselves to themselves, really.
Okay. Wanting to get more of a gauge on what's happening in the town and catching those murmurs. Whoever it was that was talking about the events in the town, Barnard is going to walk over to them and try and interject, and asks, I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation there, but I couldn't help but overhear. I couldn't help but overhear talk of the events in the village today. I caught wind of something myself. What do you know of what's happened? I hear that there was quite the gruesome event at the church.
Well, my wife was down there doing morning prayers, and I was at work, obviously, and she was they were there as far as I could make out from what she told me. They were turned out, and something must have happened to the verger, as far as I could tell. But a bit tight-lipped, it seemed. They want us common folk to know about that.
Well, that's probably for the best that the hoi polloi don't get to know the exact details of what's gone on. Such violent acts aren't for the common man.
Attacks? Oh, that's a word I haven't heard yet.
Well, I may speak too much, but I know a little more going on than it seems you do.
Well, do tell. No.
As I say, I may have spoken too much. And he gives a baleful look to this guy, as if to say, like, you're treading on dangerous ground by pressing me.
Well, I won't push the matter, but what you want to share is up to you.
Yes. Well, I appreciate your input on this. I was simply hoping that you might have a little more information than even I. But I will leave you to your drinks and to your revelry.
Well, if you change your mind about sharing the gossip, you know where to find us. He's a slightly older gentleman. He's not in... You wouldn't call them sort of working man's clothes. He's wearing a suit and such. Mm-hmm. But not like he's not wearing a tuxedo or anything like that. But it's sort of... You put him as more of a sort of... no, what's the word? He's
a sort of administrative type guy?
He's a professional, let's put it that way. Rather than a worker.
He's not a labourer.
No. He's not. He's not a fisherman. He's not an obvious sort of like. Yeah, he looks like. Yeah, he's just. Yeah, he's a bit more well-to-do than most of the customers in here, but obviously prefers the ambience in here than the slightly more posh hotel bar that I think you heard that on your previous visit that some of the more wealthy members of the town might frequent.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what's the layout of the bar in terms of like. So the fishermen are having their kind of like conversation or whatever.
Yeah, they're kind of around a small table in the corner. Okay, well, think of a square. The front door is on the the middle of the bottom face of it. Mm-hmm. The bar is kind of along the left-hand face of it. Mm-hmm. Fairly long and that, but there is room for a couple of tables along the sort of bottom left-hand corner. The fishermen are kind of their table's sort of in the top right-hand corner, and there's a sort of smattering of tables in the middle, really.
Okay. So there's not really a convenient place. Is there anywhere convenient that, like, Barnard could take a seat or hover where he's not going to be too conspicuous, or is that a little too much in this small?
It's not packed in here. There's tables. I mean, if we're considering that this is over the course of an evening sort of thing, that you're having a couple of drinks here and you're sort of, this isn't like you walk in, you grab a drink, you talk to these people, and then do this. There's a table you can sit yourself at that is not going to, you're not going to be like obviously eavesdropping or anything.
Okay then. Well, I'm going to sit down at that table then. And
it's not the biggest. It's not the biggest of pubs. Let's say that it's not the biggest of pubs. So you could situate yourself in a way to sort of be observing and not look like you're, spying on people.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
I'm going to sit and spy on people then, if I can get away with it. I'm going to sit near the fisherman and try and glean exactly what it is that they're talking about.
Okay. If you're trying to listen in, there's no real listening check. This would just, I guess, be a sort of. Again, it would be kind of. You know what?
No perception, is there?
I've been kind of I'm still not 100% happy with intelligence. Really, I think probably, but intelligence is probably going to be the closest, really. Yeah, I'm looking at the book now. Intelligence represents how well investigators learn, remember, analyze information, and solve complex puzzles. So we could sort of put that under. You're trying to learn from listening.
Yeah, and maybe getting fragments of the conversation, words here and there, looking for context clues, that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, so let's go with intelligence then. So you're 50-50 chance of doing this.
Okay,
yeah. Okay.
37.
That is.
And my int is 50, so I'm fine.
You're fine, yeah. So that is, let's say, over the course of, you're not hearing word for word the whole conversation, but you get up, you manage to sort of pick up scraps here and there, and they they seem to be talking about they're talking in reference to the thing at the church, but you hear sort of snatches of phrases like got another one, and state of that boy, and don't know if I'm gonna stay much longer if it's like this, sort of thing. You get the feeling that they're a little suspicious, and they think that this might be sort of connected to something else, is the vibe that you're getting.
Okay. Having absorbed all of that, then I'm going to return over to the bar itself, and order a drink, and then stay at the bar,
right,
and wait for one of the fishermen to come over and order themselves another drink, and try and grab his attention when he comes over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're not waiting too long. They seem to, pardon the phrase, they're drinking like a fish. But yeah, one of them comes out, bearded gentleman with a sort of woolen jumper on, orders a pint of beer next to you.
As he stood at the bar, Barnard tries to catch eyes with him and give him a little nod, just to gauge reaction and see how friendly this guy is.
Okay, he does meet your eyes, and he's a bit hesitant, but he sort of nods back. Evening, sir.
Good evening. You gentlemen seem to be having quite the time over there in the corner. Has it been a profitable day on the ships?
It's not so bad here. Fish are biting, that's all we can ask.
Yeah, indeed. Are you aware of what's happened in the town today while you were at sea?
He kind of looks around a little bit. There's something happened up at the church. Virgin been killed or something.
Is this a regular thing around these parts? Do you know? You witness much of these things?
Again, he sort of looks around the bar, not conspiratorially, but almost to check that nobody's really kind of listening in too much. I said, well, we used to be nothing like that around here, but a couple of people seem to be going missing recently. We pulled a boy out of the harbour 3 days ago, bitten in Nord, and the state of him.
State of him, you say? Nord? Like an animal that had taken him in? What do you mean?
Well, I don't know much about that myself, but he wasn't whole, let's put it that way.
Well, it's odd that you say that. The verger, the church today, I understand that he wasn't whole after whatever he encountered.
That's so, is it?
Yes.
Well,
So these other missing people, like, it seems strange that a village or a town so small would have people going missing on anything resembling a regular basis. How many people exactly have gone missing?
3 or 4. 5 you count the verger.
That's quite a lot in a town for this size. I'm surprised there's not more reaction to everything. Is there not some kind of investigation going on? The local constable seemed like he was, I don't know, perhaps a little incompetent with such things. He seemed entirely shaken by what had happened today.
He's not the only constable around here. They keep saying they're looking into stuff, but won't tell us no. They're, I don't know, some folks talking about moving away. This carries on much longer.
Well, I wouldn't blame them for trying to leave the area, especially if they feel themselves at risk. I myself wonder quite what might be going on, and I can defend myself. And he taps his cane on the floor and kind of looks at him with it.
He kind of looks down at the cane and sort of looks at it a little bit, but he's not like... sort of sizing it up as like, oh, yeah. You know. And not in a worried kind of way, but in a sort of...
Yeah, just an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Well, I'll thank you for your time and the talk.
Aye.
But I fear that the night draws in, and I must myself make way for my lodgings.
Well, good talking to you. Have a good one.
Yes, likewise. Have a good evening, and a hearty catch for you tomorrow.
Thank you kindly. He takes his beer and rejoins the others. So,
no.
You're making your way back to the lodging?
Yeah, I'm going back to the lodging. If
right.
anybody's still up in the lobby, then I'll say hello, but otherwise I'll bed.
Okay. So finally then, anything for Madam Sway to do for the rest of the day after the cafe trip?
Probably just head back to the lodgings and listen around in the lobby while she's reading a book. Do her own surveillance.
Okay. The lobby's kind of... The lodgings themselves are kind of quiet. Mrs. Kendall is sort of bustling around, sort of cleaning. You get the feeling, as you had previously, that she's quite sort of prim and proper and is sort of... likes things just so. Even though the place seems sort of very... very clean anyway, she still does the daily cleaning and that. A couple of people come and go. You remember from the from breakfast time there were 1 or 2 other residents at the moment. So you said you're reading your book, are you, in the lobby? Yeah. There's a couple of armchairs sort of in the lobby area. So it doesn't look too out of place if you just sort of if you're taking one of those and reading a book. There's not a whole lot of foot traffic. After a little while, Alistair comes back. Later on in the evening, Barnard returns as well.
Yeah, she'd probably just retire for the day after her ordeal.
Yeah, a little bit shaken, a little bit...
More so because of the police officers, because she's not too happy with police. She doesn't like the police that much.
Especially vomiting.
Especially vomiting, but she doesn't like vomit, to be fair. It's like, ugh.
Any thoughts you want to share on the police front then? Or is that just a general illusion we're going for?
She's pleased that it's nothing to do with her.
She's got an excuse not to get involved.
Yes, that it's nothing has to concern her, but because she's there, she's debating whether to be more willing to work alongside the police as Barnard and Alistair seem to be. So she's like just going with the flow, but yeah, she's not wanting to be pressed.
Right.
Into being like, yes, officer, officer.
Yeah. All right then. So if there's nothing specific then that Madam Sway wants to do, we can just say that the 3 of you each, as you sort of complete your day's activities, you retire back to your lodgings and
have a threesome.
Well, now I've got to keep that other bit in.
Sorry, I couldn't resist the
temptation.
Yeah,
good comedy instincts there.
I fell over because I freaking laughed so much the microphone nearly fell over.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I don't think I should.
Okay, so the three of you return to your rooms, and we will call the second day to a close. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back next week with our interview bonus episode with Nikolai of the Penance RPG podcast, so make sure you tune back in for that. Our next story episode, episode 46, continuing where we left off today, will be available as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday the 14th of March. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend With Dice. You can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd really just love to hear what you think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.